my name is Brittany, teacher. Today is Thursday, March 5th, and we are going to do the Junior Reading Expert student book lesson for class 500. Today we are going to do units 16 and 17. So we are going to be working on pages 68 through 75. I'm going to read with you. I want you to listen and follow along with me. Use your finger and point. If you don't understand something that I'm reading, if I'm going too fast, or if you would like to practice your pronunciation, just pause the video, rewind and listen again, and do that as many times as you need until you feel that your pronunciation is excellent. Then we will answer some comprehension questions together, and you will have to answer the questions on 70 and 71, as well as 74 and 75 by yourself. I will have an answer key ready to send to you. Just take a picture of your work and send it to us, and we will check it. All right, entertainment, unit 16. Before reading, do you think vegetables can be instruments? Again, I mentioned this last time. The before reading question is not necessarily there for you to actually answer. You can if you want to, but really it's here to give you a hint about what the passage is about. So we see the title entertainment, this question about vegetables as instruments, and then a picture of people playing vegetables in an orchestra. So you can guess what we're going to be reading about. All of this guessing and predicting are good reading strategies for when you're taking a test. If you think about these things ahead of time, then it makes whatever you're about to read a little bit easier. Okay? So let's read. Carrots, peppers, pumpkins. Most people use these vegetables to make their dinner. However, for the Vienna Vegetable Orchestra, they are perfect instruments for playing music. Since 1998, this group of 11 men and women has been making music with vegetables and giving concerts around the world. It is a concert day. The musicians are at the local market. They're looking for good, fresh instruments to buy. Now, pause. When we see the word instruments with quotations around it, what does that mean? Quotations can be used for lots of things in English, but in this situation, a quotation means that they're kind of being a little bit funny with the word instruments. They're calling vegetables instruments, which is a kind of strange idea, right? We all go to the market to buy vegetables to eat for dinner. We don't think of them as instruments when we're shopping for them, but that's exactly what they're doing. So when we use something funny, like a word in a different way, we can use quotations, and that gives the reader the idea, the author is kind of being silly here, or they're trying to use a double meaning for the word instruments. Okay? After shopping, they begin making instruments. Fresh vegetables are an important part of a healthy diet. With just a knife, a drill, and imagination, soon there will be a carrot flute, a pepper trumpet, and a pumpkin drum. Now it's time to play. The concert starts, and the audience is surprised. How can the vegetables produce such a calm and comforting sound? It is a unique sound that no other instruments can make. In addition, fresh smells from the vegetables fill the whole concert hall. The performance is over, but no one leaves the concert hall. Why? They're waiting for some vegetable soup that is made from the instruments. This special orchestra pleases not only your ears, but your nose and stomach too. Okay, so that's a funny story about people who use vegetables to play songs in an orchestra. Let's answer some comprehension questions together. Before I review these with you, pause the video and answer the questions by yourself. Then play the video when you're ready to check. Okay, let's check. Number 1, what is the best title for the passage? A dinner party with an orchestra. 1, a dinner party with an orchestra. 2, the world's most popular orchestra. 3, good vegetables for musicians. Or 4, an interesting orchestra with tasty instruments. If you answered 4, you are correct. Number 2, which statement is not needed in the passage? Let's go back and check. Do you see the little circles? Let me see. A, B, C, and D in the second paragraph here? Read those and decide which one we don't need. The musicians are at the local market. They are looking for good, fresh instruments to buy. After shopping, they begin making instruments. Or fresh vegetables are an important part of a healthy diet. If you answered D, you are correct. Why don't we need that sentence? Because this paragraph is about the process of the musicians buying the vegetables and turning them into instruments. We don't really need to know that fresh vegetables are an important part of a healthy diet. We're not learning about that right now. We're learning about how the vegetables become instruments. Okay? Number 3, the underlined sentence suggests that making vegetable instruments is what? Okay, let's check for the underlined sentence. With just a knife, a drill, and imagination, soon there will be a carrot flute, a pepper trumpet, and a pumpkin drum. Okay, so the underlined sentence suggests that making vegetable instruments is number 1, easy and boring, 2, quick and simple, 3, hard but interesting, 4, dangerous but important. If you answered 2, quick and simple, you are right. The reason why is because of the word just. With just a knife, a drill, and imagination. Just meaning only, okay? What they're saying is that you don't need a lot of time or money. You just need a drill and some imagination, and then bam, you have instruments made from vegetables. So the answer is quick and simple. 2. Number 4, according to the passage, people stay in the hall after the concert is over because. This is a simple question to answer if you know how to look for the keywords. Look for the keywords stay in the hall or after the concert. Where do we see that? Okay, no one leaves the concert hall. Why? They are waiting for some vegetable soup that is made for the instruments. You just have to copy that sentence and write it here. Number 5, which is not true about the vegetable orchestra. 1, its members make their own instruments. 2, the musicians try to buy expensive vegetables to make instruments. 3, it surprises the audience with its calm and comforting sound. 4, the audience can smell the vegetables during the performance. If you answered 2, you are correct. Number 6, it can be inferred from the passage that 1, the concerts are held at dinner time. 2, the vegetable soup doesn't taste so good. 3, the musicians use new instruments for every concert. Or 4, there are other vegetable orchestras in the world. If you answered 3, you are correct. The reason we know the answer is 3 is because of the sentence, the first 2 sentences of the second paragraph. It is a concert day. The musicians are at the local market. We know that they go to the market on the day of the concert every time to get fresh vegetables for their instruments. We also know that at the end of every concert, they chop up their instruments and give them to people as vegetable soup. So they cannot have old instruments from the day before. They have to have new instruments every time. Okay? Let's keep going. Please answer the questions on 70 and 71 by yourself. And let's continue on to Unit 17. This is a unit about art. What do you think when you see the ancient Egyptian paintings? Okay, again, we don't have to know the answer to that question. We just have to know that we're going to read about ancient Egyptian art. We know because of the title art, the question they asked, and the picture we see. Let's read together. When we think of ancient Egypt, we imagine the Great Pyramids. But ancient Egyptians also made many kinds of art, including paintings. Egyptian painters followed the same rules for more than 3,500 years. so it's easy to recognize the ancient Egyptian style. Egyptian painters often painted people. However, the people they painted didn't look very blank. If you try to stand like them, you would fall over. The painters drew each part of the body from its best looking angle. The head was drawn from the side so the shape of the nose and mouth could be seen. But the eye was drawn from the front because it looked most interesting that way. The upper body was also drawn from the front. The legs, however, were drawn from the side, like the person was walking. There were rules about the size of a person too. Size was used to show how important the person was. Of course, kings appeared very large in paintings, but when the gods were painted, their size was even greater. Now, with these rules in mind, Egyptian paintings should be more interesting to look at. Okay, again, once I've read for you once, practice reading by yourself and answer the questions on the next page. Pause the video, answer the questions, and then hit play when you are ready to check. Okay, let's check the answers together. Number 1, what is the passage mainly about? 1, the life of Egyptian painters. 2, the rules of Egyptian paintings. 3, the importance of Egyptian art. Or 4, the history of Egyptian paintings. If you answered 2, you are correct. The purpose of this reading is to explain how ancient Egyptian art should be viewed or interpreted based on the rules that the Egyptians used. Number 2, why do we easily recognize the ancient Egyptian style? Again, this kind of question is easy to answer if you know how to find the key words in the reading. Easily recognize. Okay, I can see it right away. The last sentence. So it's easy to recognize the ancient Egyptian style. Because of the word so connecting the two sentences, the sentence and the one before it, I know to look for the answer before this sentence. Egyptian painters followed the same rules for more than 3,500 years. Oh, that's the answer. So write it on the line here. Egyptians followed the same rules for 3,500 years. Number 3, what is the best choice for the blank A? Let's read that sentence one more time. However, the people they painted didn't look very something. Let's look at our choices. Number 1, fair. 2, ancient. 3, realistic. Or 4, handsome. If you answered 3, you are correct. The reason that 3 is the answer is because it makes the most sense when you add the word realistic to that blank. However, the people they painted didn't look very realistic. Again, when you see a linking word like so or however at the beginning of the sentence, usually it means that you need the sentence before it to answer the question properly. Egyptian painters often painted people. However, the people they painted didn't look very realistic. If you tried to stand like them, you would fall over. That means that they didn't really look like people in real life. You can see that by looking at the painting here. This is not how realistic people are drawn because we don't stand this way. Let's look at the next question. Number 4, in the second paragraph, the writer explains how people were painted by. If you answered 1, you are correct, describing each part of the body. Number 5, what can be inferred from the third paragraph? If you answered 4, you are correct. Egyptians thought gods were more important than kings. We know that because they talked about how Egyptians made the most important characters in their paintings the biggest. And the sentence says, size was used to show how important a person was. Of course, kings appeared very large, but gods were painted even greater. 6, write T if the statement is true or F if it is false. Number 1, the heads of Egyptians were drawn from the side to show their importance. That is false. The heads of the Egyptians were drawn from the side because it's more interesting that way. Number 2, Egyptian painters painted people's legs from the side. That's true. All right, that concludes our lesson today. For reading, Junior Reading Expert, please answer the questions on page 74 and 75 by yourself. Compare them to the answer key, take a picture, and send us your results. See you next time. Bye.